ready for this? It's showtime. Lights, fans, action. Oh yeah, we've got action. Faster, tougher, more ferocious. There's nothing like League. This is the Betfred Super League.
Got me here. It took a big chunk out of me. Bleeding. It's bleeding. Oh no, it's bleeding. The thing just ripped me ear off. What do you think?
Hello again, glad you found us. If this is your first time tuning in, you're very welcome to the latest edition of Eddie and Stevo, the podcast. And we're here, as always, with the blessing and support of Rugby League's major sponsors, Betfred. There's a great half hour on the way of Rugby League chat in this Challenge Cup final week. And we'll talk about the prospects for Wembley in a few minutes' time. But first of all, top of the shop this week, Stevo, the first state of origin battle between Queensland and New South Wales at a packed-out Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane last week. What a game this was, eh?
Oh, a shock in many ways because it's so difficult to win up in Brisbane. They just set off from the word go. Right from the kickoff, they just got into their defence. They just tried their moves. They weren't frightened about anything. Quite often in these tight games, let's just take it steady in the first 10, 15 minutes. But no, the Blues just completely blasted the opposition apart.
They did. 60% of possession in the first half, a half-time lead of 14-2. It could have been so much greater, but for once, Nathan Cleary, not the star of the show. He only kicked one goal from 5 attempts. But
but forget about the goal kicking, Eddie. He was instrumental in just making sure that the three quarters were getting plenty of open space, plenty of open ball. And they just took them away. Look, Queensland really were not at the races right the way through. I mean, they had over 25 missed tackles in the first 25, 30 minutes. And you can't win a game when you do something like that.
So just wasn't Queensland having an off night, or was it, do you think?
Well, it's the opposition, Eddie. You can put off their star players. Look, Harry Grant, I think they brought him back too early from injury. It wasn't at his best, and they're all now claiming Cherry Evans, you've got to drop him. You've got to get rid of him. He was nowhere to be seen when, he's 35, 36 years of age. And, of course, the media got into him. Everyone gets into him. But will they stick with him for the second state of origin? That is the big question. Now, he played at the weekend, and he had a super game playing for his own club, Manly. So he's put out the message there that he's still capable of doing it. But the pressure from Queenslanders don't like losing to New South Welshmen. I can assure you of that. They hate each other.
Yeah.
So it's got to that point where all the Queenslanders are saying, well, he's 36, 35, 36. He's too old. Get rid of him. It's a ruthless game, Eddie.
It is out there. There's no doubt about that. You mentioned that about Queensland, and they don't like losing to New South Wales. They've not got to go to Sydney this year, have they? Because this second game is going to be played in Perth on the 18th of June, with pushes on, of course, for the Perth Bears introduction to the NRL in 2027. But does it matter it's on neutral territory?
Doesn't matter at all. It's how you start the game and how you finish it. Simple as that. And look, Queensland realised that they got absolutely cut to pieces. They just didn't appear to be playing as a team. They'll try to sort that out. Don't worry. They won't just give in and say, oh, well, they're far too good for us, et cetera, et cetera. Look, they will be fighting to ensure that they get into it. But the one thing, and it's always said, Eddie, defence will win you games. And that's what occurred in that first state of origin. So they've got to make sure that they've got the defence right before they start even thinking about how they're going to break down the Blues' defence in the second origin.
Okay, a couple of quick questions for you. You know, I spotted a lot of tackles, Stevo, up around the neck. Now, we used to call them grapple tackles when we were behind the microphone in our day, and they were penalised instantly. Has that now gone out of the window, that rule?
Listen, the rules can change depending on which referee's out there, which attitude they get. Look, we all know for years and years, there are certain styles of referees. Some people, how many times have we been at the big games at Wembley, the grand finals, and a referee will allow anything to go on? Head eyes, all this sort of thing, even down to tripping. Oh, get on with it, because they don't want to spoil the spectacle. We've got to ensure that the referees all collectively just do the same thing. It's the same with this captain's report and saying, you know, I want a challenge. Why on earth we've got that is beyond belief. It slows the game down. I hate it. And if I could tomorrow just say, get rid of it. But the funny thing about it is everyone's saying, oh, well, you know, we've got to have television showing us this, that, and the other. And then if somebody scraps it, if they say, right, we don't want it anymore, you'll guarantee there'll be an incident where one of the coaches said, oh, we should get it back. Don't let referees and officials just make a guess. Well, we've given them the TV and they're still making a mess of it.
Just one final question about State of Origin. Basically, the 34 men who took the field will probably form the basis of the Kangaroos touring party due here for the Ashes. From the evidence of that first game, if proof were needed, they're going to be formidable, aren't they? England face a massive challenge.
Yeah, they're favourites, Eddie. But I can remember going back to my playing days that the World Cup in 1972, they'd already won the trophy. It was as simple as that. We just turned up. France, New Zealand and Great Britain just turned up for it. But we turned the tables, and we can do it. And we can do it again. If we pick the right people, the right attitude, it's just like watching the other game when we saw the first State of Origin. If you get into their faces and make sure these superstars don't get much ball, don't get much space, then you can win the game. I'm not giving it in. There's no way in the world. Okay, they'll start favourites. They have to start favourites, Australia. But it doesn't mean to say that England can't beat them. And I think we can. I think we've got the players there now.
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed. State of Origin goes to the West Coast in a couple of weeks' time. And talking of Perth, reports reaching us here say Mal Meninga will be appointed the new coach over there for 2027. And they're now saying that he could be relieved of his coaching responsibilities for the Kangaroo Tour. And perhaps more significantly for Super League, Sam Burgess out of the running now. It seems like it's gone.
Is out of the running. He's admitted that the Perth club contacted him in regards to whether you'd be interested or what. They've gone for Mal Meninga, but reading between the lines, I think that Sam Burgess, and he's made it quite clear that he's got 2026, the next season, that he will still be at Warrington, but that doesn't indicate to me that he won't be going back to Australia. And it would not surprise me if Mal Meninga took him on board as his assistant coach.
You heard it on Eddie and Stevo, the podcast, for the first time. Okay, the Super League action from last weekend, Thursday night. Lee climbing back into the top three with what in the end was a nervy performance. Huddersfield staging a late charge. They lost by just the 4 points in the end. But now here's the thing. A growing trend this year, when teams are asked to drop out from under their own posts in 2025, the coaches are telling them to kick it short in an attempt to regain possession. It happens every week. It's a risky business, this, isn't it? Because twice on Thursday last week, Huddersfield dropped out short and twice Lee scored tries as a result.
It depends, Eddie, what the scoreline is. If you're within 6 points, then yes, go for the short kick and let's see if we can get back into it. But therefore, if you're sort of only a couple of points behind, then I'd be kicking long. I'd be trying to force the opposition to stay within their own halfway line. And I think that, look, different coaches have different ideas, and they keep changing it. They keep saying we'll do this and we can do that. If they do a short kick and say the winger picks it up and races the full length of the field and scores a try, then everyone will be saying, see, I told you, you should take that short kick off. If you knock on or you touch it and the opposition get it, then score a try, guess what? Oh, no, they should have gone for the long kick. Look, this is sport. This is rugby league. And this is why we love it so much, because we can talk about it. And that's why it's the greatest game of all.
Indeed. Well, 24 hours after that game, it was revealed that Jake Webster is joining the Huddersfield Giants to boost their coaching team. Webster, remember, the former Castleford and New Zealand star. And he's coming to support the beleaguered Luke Robinson on his coaching staff because he's a bit thin on the ground. However, he missed the defeat on Thursday. The M62 was in chaos. We know what that means, don't we? No surprise there. A lorry that was on fire. The motorway at a standstill. Tui Lolohea, he almost missed the kickoff as well, but he was further up the queue. The bottom line, I'm afraid, though, is little Luke Robinson, he needs a bit of help at the moment, doesn't he?
Yeah, he sure does. And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people are getting on his back already and saying, you know, he's not good enough. He can't do this and he can't get the team up. He can't sort of get them positive thinking, etc. and so forth. Look, for so many years, you can ask some of the greatest coaches, both here and in Australia, New Zealand. It's all a matter of having your backing group. It's not all about you. Okay, you can fit the format. You can say this is how we're going to do it, etc. and so forth. You've got to have assistant coaches, a defence coach, an attacking coach, etc. and so forth. Most of the Australian clubs have so many assistants, it's quite remarkable. Even to the point of, as we discussed, drop kicking out underneath the post, kicking off, kicking for the 40-20. They have separate coaches. And in this day and age, it's full time. It takes up a lot of energy and knowledge, and you've got to have support. It's as simple as that. If you don't have it, then you're going to finish at the bottom of the table.
OK, on to Friday night, the highlight of the programme, a statement win for Hull Kingston Rovers just before Wembley over St Helens, 34 points to 2, and 2 tries from Jack Broadbent and Mikey Lewis. Broadbent likely to play at fullback at the weekend at Wembley, and Mikey Lewis, of course. And all this vindicating Willie Peters, the coach, decision to go with a strong team a week before Wembley. For St Helens, though, Stevo, injuries to Jack Welsby. It's been revealed now he's out for up to 4 months with a knee problem that needs an operation. So he's a doubt for the end of the season and therefore the Ashes. Lewis Murphy, he also is out for a long-term injury with a quad muscle injury. You know, they'll have to regroup this week, the week before, with the week after Wembley, but Paul Wellens again up against it.
Yeah, well, it's there was a lot of pressure put on him a fortnight ago, and then he came up with 2 good wins. It's as simple as that. Listen, St Helens came up against a very, very good side. It's as simple as that. And I reckon that to put out a strong team the week before Wembley was a little bit of a gamble in many ways. But the confidence that they would have gained to beat such a strong team like that is the perfect lift when you're going down to Wembley. And I've been looking at the pros and cons in regards to the fact I reckon it's going to be a title fight between George Williams, right, and of course Michael Lewis. Now, whoever takes control in that department, and we saw Lewis at his best over the weekend, whoever takes it and controls it will win the Challenge Cup.
It's a massive gamble coming up for Warrington, though, isn't it? George Williams says he's fit. Hull Kingston Rovers hopeful that Michael McAlorum will make a comeback as well. I don't know where that leaves Jez Litton, but we'll wait and see. But at least Warrington went into their match with a strong side at the weekend, and they got the win, which is something they didn't do last year. They turned up at Wembley and they were flat as pancakes against the Wigan Warriors, weren't they?
Yeah, and I think there'll be a different attitude and different also a different sort of game plan from Burgess. Sam realised that they never were in it at last year's final, and he's got to ensure that George Williams doesn't have what we saw in the first state of origin. Look, Harry Grant, he's the mainstay of the Queensland side, and he just didn't play. He had only like 3 runs from dummy half. Now, this is a guy that just controls everything from the play the ball area. And it's the same with George Williams. George Williams controls the link to the 3 quarters, and he's coming back from an injury. It's always a gamble. We've seen it come off, football, cricket, etc., and so forth, where they've put someone out there. But the majority of the time, the percentage is against you that you're not game fit. You might feel fit, but when it comes down to playing 80 minutes in a pressurized game like a grand final or a Challenge Cup final, it's a different attitude. I'm just hoping that it's going to be a great game. I don't think it's going to be one-way traffic, as a lot of people are saying, because Warrington, they're determined, especially with the knowledge of having lost last year. That's a great advantage to know it. It's not new to them to be in the dressing room at Wembley. Nothing's new now. They know exactly how they can perform. And if they do, then it'll be a great final.
Fingers crossed. But, the bookies, they won't be looking beyond Hull Kingston Rovers. I mean, they're going to be favourites, aren't they? No question about that. Apparently, they've got about 18,000 from East Hull going down. Warrington have got about 8,000. So it's going to be one-way traffic as far as the fans are concerned. So come on, you've already tipped Hull Kingston Rovers. You're going to say they're favourites, aren't they?
Oh, of course. And they have to be favourites the way that they're playing. And the way that their star forwards are really taking the ball up with a great deal of energy and venom. And as I say, look, Michael Lewis, I mean, the try he scored, showing that amazing amount of speed. If he can produce anything like that at Wembley, then yes, they've got to be favourites. But I've seen favourites lose before when it comes to the pressure.
Well, very much so. I think Warrington have got to stop their quick start, haven't they? Hull KR come out of the blocks like greyhounds, don't they, at the beginning?
Yeah, and it's down to their coach. So the coach knows exactly. And a lot of people sort of said, "Ooh, he's picked a pretty strong team the week before Wembley," but it paid off. And once you're on a roll, keep that momentum. Sometimes it's happened in the past, Eddie, where they've gone, we rest them. Sometimes they rest 6 or 7 players, star players, and they get beaten the following week. Doesn't happen a lot, but it can happen.
We're talking about a glittering occasion at Wembley this weekend. Friday, Salford 6, Wigan 46. The expected victory for Wigan. Thank goodness the game was played, because the talk leading up to it was whether the Salford players would be paid on time. They were. Had they not been, all the talk was they wouldn't be turning out. They'd be on strike. Can you imagine the fallout if that would have happened?
How many times have we discussed this, Eddie, saying something has to break? You either say, that's it, you're no longer in the competition, it's not fair to the players, but especially it's not fair to the fans, the people who pay the money to come and watch a game, and you can see that they're not at full strength. They're all over the shop, both on and off the field of play. I feel sorry for them, but you've got to point the finger at the people who run the game. This should never have been allowed to happen. How many times have we said that on this program?
Oh, number of times. Yeah.
I am sick and tired of repeating myself in the situation. And what do we get? No information whatsoever. Have we got any further? Why have they done this? Can they get out of it? All of a sudden, we find out that there's a huge tax bill.
Yes.
Now, you can't tell me that a club has not been under the microscope of the people who run our game to ensure that they pay their taxes, to ensure that they pay the players. It's as though somebody, or shall we say a committee, had just turned off. It's that old saying, don't form a committee. If you do, it has a habit of off comes a head and on goes a pineapple.
Well, Salford have got a huge date coming up with the Inland Revenue, allegedly a £600,000 outstanding tax bill. And the ownership group of Salford, the new owners, they're looking at a bridging loan, reports have it, to keep the club going. We've got no idea where all this is going to end, Stevo. But the new owners are actually sticking in there. They were seen at the game on Friday. So despite the fact the sale of the ground to them by the council isn't going to happen, there might, fingers crossed, there might just be light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, we hope so. It's a wonderful traditional club. We don't need all this hanging in the background.
You're right. Let's keep our fingers crossed for Salford. Look, an emotional afternoon at Headingley over the weekend. Robbie Burrow remembered. It's just 12 months this week since he left us. His mum and dad presented the match ball to the referee along with his two sisters, and the crowd from both clubs. I mean, it was packed to the rafters, Headingley, and the crowd remembered him with rapturous minutes applause. Rob Burrow, OBE, never will be forgotten. His name lives on, doing so much for the MND Association, not least with the research and treatment centre that bears his name in the city, which opens later on this year.
Well, the thing being is that I can assure you I did not have a dry eye when the family was passing the ball for the kickoff. It was an emotional thing for rugby league. Look, to keep the name of Rob Burrow going for years and years to come, and I am glad that we all respect people from not just rugby league, but from all other sports. And I think it's a wonderful tribute to everybody from different sports who have passed on condolences, etc. over the past 12 months. It's as I say, he was such a wonderful player, but more so a wonderful man.
He was. On the field of play, Callum Watkins. Now, he turned out to stand off half for the first time in his long career to help Leeds to another win on that day. And he's going to go round again, and he's going to sign a new deal. Brad Arthur hailed his display and revealed he told Ian Blease, the director of rugby at Leeds now, Watkins was the Rhinos sporting director's greatest ever mid-season signing. They've won 5 of the last 6 matches since he's rejoined them. Fantastic for Callum Watkins.
It certainly is. And let's not forget about a robust winger that's also signing another 12 months extension.
Ryan Hall. Hall. He's going to go round again next year. The ripe old age of 38.
That's not bad going, is it? I think Eddie, you were on walking stick when you got to 38, didn't you? Something like that.
I was on something. There's no doubt about that. You're right, absolutely.
Yeah,
good on him.
Look, the one good thing about Ryan Hall is the fact that it's not just his contribution when he's out on the field of play. I've known him and I've met him many, many times. He's such a nice guy that is a wonderful person to have around the club. Yes. Be it on the field of play or off it. It's as simple as that. He's helped change the attitude of Headingley, which was in a little bit of turmoil.
Yeah, but they're not giving up the ghost, are they? Not giving up the ghost now. Only 4 points adrift of Wigan in 3rd place.
That's right.
And they boast the best defence in Super League with Wigan right now.
Yeah. It's it turned it around. Brad Arthur's done a damn fine job. Obviously, Arthur has not been given the chance to coach Perth. He was the front runner a couple of months ago, Eddie.
He was.
But, Mal Meninga, and as I'll say it again, wouldn't surprise me if Sam Burgess goes as his assistant after his contract expires 2026 with Warrington. And I hope Warrington try to keep him because he's developing into a damn fine coach. And he's a good bloke.
He's a great bloke.
Well, it's obvious. He's born and bred in Dewsbury.
Yeah, which you say each and every week as well. But he is. You're absolutely right. And he's a character, and he's a superstar, and he's in our game, which is fantastic. Last match of the weekend in Perpignan, Catalan Dragons. Sorry to say, Dragons being beaten by Hull. They're in crisis, Stevo. A third defeat in a row, and the third successive game, they failed to even register a single point. Beaten 40-0 at St Helens. That was Steve McNamara's swan song. Round 12, 48 at home by Wigan. And last weekend, Hull beat them, also in the south of France, 34 points to nil. A disaster this for this club, whose fans keep rolling up. And of course, they're the club that provides so many wonderful memories for English supporters on their weekends down to the Mediterranean. Where does Bernard Gouache, the owner, where does he go from here?
Well, first of all, I think he has to get a pretty good coach to replace McNamara. I thought it was a little bit of a surprise when they showed him the door. But generally speaking, they need someone to especially be able to start and create from the bottom because they're near to the bottom. And it's a start again situation. And maybe they've taken their eye off the ball in regards to the fact that, bringing the French young players through. It's often forgotten that you've got to bring your own through that wonderful area where you get them into the lower grades and then give them an opportunity up front. Maybe they've just got a little bit lost on that. I mean, look, Joel Tompkins, he must be pulling his hair out. But they've got to get someone pretty quickly, or shall I say this? Start now to try to find a coach for next season.
Well, there's no promotion, no relegation, so they do have time. It's not the end of the world if they finish bottom of the table, and they probably won't because of Salford's problems. But, Joel Tompkins himself has said that last week was embarrassing. It was a reality check for the club, and they've a lot of work to do if they're to salvage the season. 50 feet on the run, Stevo. That's an understatement, isn't it?
Eddie, that happens when when you get rid of a coach that has been so successful. And there come a time where, you've got to make that decision. And Bernard Gouache has just said, enough is enough. I mean, as you say, 3 games, they haven't scored a point.
No.
It's
5 defeats on the run, yeah.
It's not just about losing. It's about how they're losing. And they've got to regroup. They've got to start right from the bottom. And has their development gone backwards? Have they not been able to bring certain players through from the local teams, from the local areas? It's a difficult scenario for them. And I know one thing, Bernard will be trying his damnedest. And it wouldn't surprise me if within the next month, Mr. Gouache gets on the plane to Australia and goes down there to find an Australian coach. Because I don't think they will go for a British coach.
Well, it couldn't be much worse for them. Oh, hang on. Yes, it could, because their next assignment, Stevo, Hull Kingston Rovers away. Now, it does come hot on the heels of the cup final, of course. But it couldn't be much worse if you go into Hull Kingston Rovers on a run like this.
Yeah, it's difficult times for them, and especially with the fact that look, the Rovers coach has made it quite clear that he picked a strong side before Wembley, and he'll try to pick the strongest side for the week after Wembley. So it's not going to be easy for the French outfit to even match them. It's difficult when you have disharmony throughout the season. Halfway through the season, it's difficult to pick yourself up. the players are dejected, they're pretty forlorn, they can't sort of think, well, we've lost his coach, he got rid of him, this and the other. And there would have been a lot of players who became quite friendly with McNamara. And sometimes it's difficult to say, well, we'll just have to cop it sweet. We'll have to ensure that whoever comes in can change it around. But it's not a job that, well, I certainly won't be applying for it, that's for sure.
I'm sure you won't. But I tell you where you will be and what you will be doing this weekend. You'll be marching down Wembley Way, presumably with your red and white scarf on, supporting the whole Kingston Rovers side, because they're from Yorkshire. And let's get it on record. The last word this week, Stevo, belongs to you. 2025 Betfred Challenge Cup winners will be...
Hull Kingston Rovers.
What a surprise. What a surprise. I think there'll be a number of people thinking exactly the same as you. Enjoy the day. Have a great day out. I'm sorry I won't be with you, but I will be looking for you when the BBC camera hones in on the legend that is Stevo in the stands. Are you presenting the cup, by the way? Have they asked you?
No, they've sent me tickets and I'm on the other side.
Oh, you're on the same side as the cameras. Oh, well.
Yeah, that's life. That's life.
Never mind. Look, have a great day, and we'll talk about the Challenge Cup final and the I can't even say it, the ramifications of it same time next week. Always good to talk, top man. We'll see you in 7 days' time.
Okay, I'll be there.